Hello there and welcome to another episode of the Business Weekly Show here on Citi TV, your most watched business show in the country. My name is Michael Obodu, and in the next 1 hour, I'll be bringing you a wrap of all the major business stories for the week. So if you're ready, let's go. Well, things aren't entirely gloomy for the country as the $750 million African Export-Import Bank, that is the Afreximbank loan, approved by Parliament last month, hits the Bank of Ghana's accounts. The loan, which is part of a $1 billion facility, reached the central bank on Thursday, 25th August 2022. This hopefully will help address the rapid decline of the cedi against the dollar. However, there has been mixed reactions to the development. According to the Ghana Union of Traders Associations (GUTA), the depreciation of the cedi has eroded the capital of its members and is severely hampering their operations. A dollar is currently trading at 10 Ghana cedis. Inflation is almost at 32% and the policy rate is currently at 22%. Speaking at a press conference in Accra, President of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, called on the government to act swiftly to address their concerns and salvage the ailing economy.
Monetary policy rate is 22%, meaning that commercial lending rate is over 35%. VAT standard rate of 19.25% instead of flat rate of 4%. Huge influx of foreigners in the retail business against our investment laws. Do not review any system to increase duties on importation of second-hand clothing. Listen to the concerns of car dealers. Withdraw compulsory maritime insurance policy. Do not blame us for high prices of goods on the market. And then 10, activities of black market and its effect on the cedi.
The concerns raised by Dr. Obeng were further underlined by various traders present at the press conference. They called on the government to do all it could to make doing business easier for players in the industry.
The challenge for us is the dollar rates and also the 35% they are going to add to our duties. That the most important thing is the 35%. As for the dollar rate, I know that government will find a way of bringing it back down. So I believe that they will do that. So our main problem is even the 35% extra duty they want to add to us because of their foreign foreigners have opened assembly plants in Ghana, and they are coming to produce. They are producing a few. But even their prices are very high. And number two, they have been given tax rebates. And then we instead of even maintaining what the tax we pay, they want to add another 35% to it, which I think is not very fair.
Now the dollar issue too is affecting us. When you are ready to sell your car and you want to go and change, by the time the car will be sold and you go for the change, the money is gone. We are asking government to make sure that the dollar issue is solved as immediate as possible, because we are not in a capacity to regulate the dollar. They are in charge. They know best, and they should do everything possible to make sure that the dollar issue is solved immediately.
Until their concerns are addressed, GUTA has decided to embark on the closure of shops belonging to its members in Accra. This is in hope that it will get them the needed attention from the government so their grievances are addressed.
There have been a series of pressure and agitations coming from members of the trading community on the leadership of GUTA to register our frustrations and desperations to the government to appreciate the extent to which we are suffering as a result of the depreciation of the cedi. By the details of the trading community. Yes. By the details of the trading community. Yes. By the details of the trading community. Yes. We declare. Yes. We declare closure of shops in Accra on Monday, 29th August.
The Traders Advocacy Group Ghana (TAG) subsequently asked its members to disregard directives by the Ghana Union of Traders Associations (GUTA) to close their shops, as it believes the move is counterproductive and it would rather worsen the plight of the trading community.
We will be explaining why such a directive will rather harm and affect the already struggling traders. The only effect this disturbing directive will have on traders who will close their shops is to drive the customers of local traders into the shops and the big malls of foreign competitors like Melcom, China Mall, Maximat, ShopRite, Game and Palace, who by virtue of their size and investment are already sniffing life out of the local business and traders. We believe that closing down shops will not magically change the economic hardship facing traders, but rather further reduce the already diminishing clients base of local traders to foreign competitors.
Meanwhile, on Thursday, the Ghana Union of Traders Associations called off its directive to close all shops of its members in Accra on Monday, August 29, 2022, after a crunch closed-door meeting with members of the Council of State.
When Council of State, out of its own wisdom, called us, we had earlier been called by the National Security, the Trade Ministry, and then also the Finance Ministry. And then we have had joint meetings and all that, and very interesting discussion were put on. And especially here too, we have been able to engage with the good counsel coming from our Council of State.
Just as the traders, businesses into the sale of medicines are also feeling the impact of the current economic situation. This has led to a sharp increase in the cost of a lot of medications in the country. We know how critical medicines are to everyday life, but this development is a source of worry for players in the space, including medical counter assistants, importers and manufacturers who are not too happy about this.
Over the last month, the Cedi has seen significant depreciation against most major currencies. As this has happened, the cost of goods and services has risen in line with the depreciation and associated inflationary pressures. Although the full impact of this on the cost of healthcare is not known, one can expect that the cost of medicines will go up significantly. This has already been predicted by groups like the Center for Democratic Development. A fellow at the center, Dr. Kwame Cedi, earlier this week predicted an increase in the prices of medicines between 34 and 49%.
So if you look at it, that the Cedi is depreciating anywhere around 30% currently. Inflation is also around 32%. Then the person is going to factor all these into their markup because they need to be able to turn their investments around, and they need to ensure that they are not losing their capital. So this is what's happening. So if you look currently on the market, already the prices have gone up by about between 22 and 60%, depending on whether you're looking at the branded product or generic, from December last year prices anyway. Anyone who buys medicines from a pharmacy would know this. And that is what we have modeled, and we've realized that at the rate of the depreciation, if nothing is done, on average, medicine prices would go up by between 34 and 49% on December last year price.
Meanwhile, the Pharmaceutical Importers and Wholesalers Association of Ghana says the current situation is gradually eroding the capitals of pharmaceutical importers. William Edu-Ado is the association's president.
Currently, as we speak, interest rate is over 30%. The Cedi is continuously depreciating. beginning of the year, it was about 6 cedis to $1. As we speak, it's about 10 cedis to $1. That's minimum, about 10 cedis to $1. So straight away, if you're importing, let's say, any amount of goods, you need almost double the amount of capital to do the same business. So virtually the depreciation is depleting our capital because you need more money to do the same amount of business that I used to do at a higher cost.
Citi Business News visited some pharmacies to interact with the counter assistants, and the news was no different. According to them, the prices of medicines have seen constant increases from the beginning of this year till now.
From January upwards, it's like coming. The prices was okay, but for now, the prices has increased like 2 times, 3 times because of the Citi depreciation, and most of the drugs are foreign drugs. Most of the things we buy it, like even those who prepare it in Ghana, they buy some of the things from outside. So the increase, because of the increase of the euro and those things, it has makes the increase of the prices also, the medicine also goes high. Depends on the Cedi depreciation. Whilst the dollars are going, the euros are going, and the pounds are going. So right now, the prices of the things has been like 2 times as we used to sell it now.
Since we got into this year, the prices has been going up a bit nowadays. It changes, like you wouldn't know when it will just change. Just right now, we are just changing a drug right now. So it just changes.
Can you give, let's say, in terms of percentages in general?
Oh,
have you seen an increase with?
Like 80%, yes. And the increasement is not like something small being put on it. It's sometimes a huge sum. You will be selling something at 10 cedis, and then the next day you come as 20. We will go, and then the price that we are selling it here is the selling price of the distributors. So we then have to adjust our prices and then change everything.
It appears our economic woes aren't going away anytime soon, because there are some projections that the cedi would depreciate further against the dollar by over 40%. It just gets me wondering. Already, the rate is at 10 Ghana cedi to the dollar. If this should worsen, then we just should prepare for the worst, especially towards the festive season.
In its Ghana's Private Infrastructure Investment Sets for Medium-Term Recovery report, Fitch Solutions is predicting a 43% depreciation of the cedi to the US dollar in 2022. It is also forecasting a 30% fall in value of the local currency to the dollar in 2023. According to the research company, the currency's weakness will keep revenue risks elevated for foreign investors reliant on revenue streams in local currency. Fitch also expects Ghana's inflation rate to remain high in the near term in the face of spiking global food and fuel prices, coupled with the continuing investor concern over the country's large fiscal deficits, which is putting downward pressure on the cedi. It forecasts that consumer price inflation will average 25% and 15% in 2022 and 2023, respectively. Furthermore, Fitch's report predicts that the cedi's weakness will add to upward pressures on prices of construction materials from existing supply chain disruptions due to the country's over-reliance on imports. But what does this mean for the economy? Economist Courage Boti has been reacting to the news.
At least from the projections of revenue and expenditure for the rest of the year, it doesn't appear we are prepared to tighten up a bit to balance the books and keep this the ship afloat. And the fact that there are liquidity crises on the market, which is why the cedi has been falling this fast. I think 43% end of year is not far-fetched, actually. Indeed, we could get there in no time. At the pace at which we are going, we could get there in no time. I know there are talks of a combined about 2 billion or so being injected in the next few months. I know the 750 Afri-Exim loan might come in anytime soon. And then the Cocoa loan will start coming in from October thereabout. What that will do really is to, in the short term, improve liquidity levels, strengthen the Bank of Ghana's hands to be able to do some interventions on the market to smoothing volatility.
This must really be challenging times for the government with all the economic pressures hitting the country. To make matters worse, the electronic transfer levy that was expected to help rake in more revenue to improve the country's fortunes hasn't yielded much. There are reports that currently the level of revenue generated by the levy is just under 7%.
Now, the controversial electronic transfer levy, otherwise known as the e-levy, which was implemented in May 2022, was expected to rake in some 6.9 billion Ghana cedis by the end of the year, but was later reviewed by government to some 4.5 billion Ghana cedis due to some challenges with the passage of the tax. Now, several people, especially those in the downstream value chain, raised questions about its passage, especially the Momo agents, who said that it was going to take a toll on their businesses, with some citizens who patronize the mobile money transaction saying that it was also going to impact negatively on their finances. Now, it's been 3 months down the line, and how has this particular tax been faring so far? The tax policy, after stiff opposition from stakeholders, particularly the minority caucus in Parliament, was passed into law to be implemented at a reviewed rate from 1.75% to 1.50%. However, getting customers to continuously engage in electronic transactions in order to pay the levy has been unsuccessful. A survey by Imani Ghana with other stakeholders in June this year revealed that government's revised estimated 4.5 billion Ghana cedis target was not feasible. New data from the Finance Ministry reveals that 92.7 million Ghana cedis has so far been raked in, amounting to about 6.2% out of the 4.5 billion projected yearly amount. A further breakdown on month-on-month basis shows that out of the projected 418 million Ghana cedis to be collected for the month of June, only 54 million Ghana cedis, which signifies a 12.99%, was raked in. An economist, Courage Buti, says this situation was expected.
We saw from the beginning that a lot of people were averse to it, and I argued severally on different platforms that I thought the whole idea of bringing people, a lot more people to the tax net is great, but the approach they've chosen is not an optimal one, because then it ends up punishing people who already pay tax. And I guess the sentiments cut across, and that is why you see a lot of people find different ways to avoid this tax, and tax avoidance is not crime, really.
This mobile money agent I spoke to on condition of anonymity attributes the declining figures to deliberate efforts by customers to evade the tax. He explains how this is done to Citi News.
As a vendor, you are paying charge for GNRA because we have business set, and we pay taxes. That's every month. Yeah, so they take the charges from our business set. If you come, you don't want to pay e-levy, you tell me that you are withdrawing. So when you withdraw, then I send for you. So it's like the same thing. There is no other way again. Yeah, the same thing.
Okay, so they withdraw as if they are withdrawing, like just withdrawing, and then they give it to you, that you send it, because you will be paying for the charges.
Yeah, yeah.
The news team caught up with a section of Ghanaians who still think the tax policy must be either reviewed downwards or scrapped completely.
It should have been looked at from the Ghanaian perspective, because we complained initially that the tax burden is already too much. So if we are not achieving the target, it means that Ghanaians are not accepting the rate at which they are being charged.
The e-levy, I think we have to scrap it, because there's no use of it anymore. No, but the government said, okay, we will use the e-levy to sort ourselves as a nation, right? Now, the e-levy has come, and it has no use. You understand? Where the government said that we are not going there, they went there. You understand? They went there. So we have to scrap the e-levy.
But will the scrapping of the tax policy be the ideal way to go, particularly considering the current economic hardship of the country?
What you want to do is run till end of the year, have a proper review with data, history of data. At this point, we are talking about with just about 3 months of data. when we have, say, about 6-7 months of data, and you can do some trend analysis to determine where the causes of the default are, why people are not interested, if you can pick some trends, then informs what policy decision you take as to whether to continue, whether to revise the rate downward, or to do something else to it.
Well, things aren't entirely gloomy for the country as the $750 million African Export-Import Bank, that is the Afrexim Bank loan, approved by Parliament last month, hits the Bank of Ghana's accounts. The loan, which is part of a $1 billion facility, reached the central bank on Thursday, 25th August 2022. This hopefully will help address the rapid decline of the cedi against the dollar. However, there has been mixed reactions to the development.
Ghana's economy for some time now has been going through challenging times as it is battling a number of issues including rising inflation and a rising debt among others. The country's currency has also been suffering continuous depreciation, especially against the US dollar since the beginning of the year. As part of efforts to check the situation, Minister of Information Kojo Nkrumah earlier this week assured that the free fall of the cedi to the dollar will end soon as government is expected to inject some $2 billion into the economy. He also noted that a $750 million loan expected from the African Export-Import Bank, the Afrexim Bank, will hit the accounts of the Bank of Ghana by the end of the week.
Our challenge with the currency is that as a country, do not export and repatriate enough dollar into the Ghanaian economy. We don't export enough and repatriate enough dollars into the Ghanaian economy. Very often, it has been when the fiscal policy managers go and borrow dollar as part of our financing program that you find that Ghana receives forex. That, in addition to a number of reasons that the Bank of Ghana has put out, have culminated in a situation where this year, because of the downgrades we have suffered, for which reason we cannot access the international capital markets, what is happening is that the inflow of forex is limited, and therefore the extraordinary demand by the stronger dollar and by the import pressures of our country, in addition to the repatriation of funds by investors, etc., as a result of what's happening globally, has led to a cedi that has depreciated pretty quickly. The Bank of Ghana introduced a number of measures in the short term to deal with it. And on the back of that, in fact, I think this morning the president was briefed that the $750 million that we were expecting, now all the paperwork has been concluded and should be hitting our accounts perhaps maybe today or tomorrow. That was a brief that the president was given this morning.
On Friday, 26th August 2022, Citi news sources with the Ministry of Finance confirmed that a $750 million loan expected from the Afrexim Bank had hit the Bank of Ghana's account. The money, which is part of a $2 billion loan from different sources, reached the central bank on Thursday, 25th August 2022. Government would use the $750 million, which came in 3 tranches of $332 million, $187 million, and $193 million to also finance some infrastructure projects. Proceeds from the loan, according to government, will help shore up its reserves, which stood at $7.68 billion as of June 2022. While lauding government's efforts at receiving the loan, the Association of Ghana Industries noted that it could help stabilize the economy in the short term. They are, however, calling on governments to adopt a sustainable approach to addressing the challenges facing the economy. Chona Makpelo is the Greater Accra chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries, and he's been speaking to Citi News.
In as much as we're getting money in, it may not be entirely sustainable approach to dealing with our situation, because we tend to rely very heavily on importing even during Christmas in a big way, so much so that there's very little of money left after Christmas. And so our hope is that in all of these, government trying to bring in money and also trying to solve short-term measures, our hope is that there will be a long-term approach vis-a-vis the short-term. So yes, the short-term is bringing revenue, money to the economy, but at the same time, we need to see a long-term, which AG has been calling for this while. We want to be able to see a situation where we have an industrialization plan that focuses on building local industries to produce and, increase export for same.
All forex bureaus that are not in compliance with their operational regulations will have to mend their ways or risk closure. The Bank of Ghana has indicated it will soon shut down licensed forex bureaus that are not fulfilling the foreign exchange laws. The move is meant to stop all deliberate market practices that are fueling the Cedi's rapid depreciation.
Data from the Bank of Ghana indicates that the Ghana Cedi has lost more than 25% of its value year to date. The local currency has crossed the 10 cedis to $1 mark on the retail market. A visit by Citi News to some forex bureaus and banks within the capital showed that some are selling $1 for 9 cedis 98 pesos, while others are selling it for 10 cedis 10 pesos. The deterioration of the local currency on the financial markets is largely due to, among other things, the uncertainty about Ghana's fiscal outlook as well as low investor confidence that has made it impossible for the country to access the international capital market for borrowing. The Bank of Ghana asserts that some illegal actions of some licensed forex operators have been a contributory factor to the instability of the cedi. Dr. Joseph Franz is the head of financial stability at the Bank of Ghana.
Bureaus are supposed to ensure that once they sell, they issue receipts, and they are also supposed to identify persons and institutions that buy from them. They are mainly spot transactions, and they are mainly retail. They are not wholesale traders in forex. So that's what bureaus are supposed to do. They are not supposed to determine forward rates. In other words, they pick money. Then they tell you, I'll give you a rate that will prevail next week or the week after.
The central bank's assertion comes on the back of information it gathered that some licensed forex bureaus in the country are flouting the rules and regulations governing their activities, with some selling or buying forex from clients without issuing receipts or taking ID cards, things that are mandatory for them to do in any transactions they perform. Dr. Joseph Franz said his outfit has commenced investigations into these findings and will do the needful if the bureaus are found culpable.
And we picked evidence that they sell and they don't pick, they don't give receipts. They also don't identify the people, they don't pick their identification, and they also will not, and even if they want to, they can just offer, they have stock of identity cards and they use that to trade, so in other words, they haven't identified anybody. And this has been confirmed out of the mystery shopping that we did. And so, yes, we are telling the public and of course the bureau operators that we are after all the recalcitrant ones. Of course, we cannot say that all bureau operators are doing something wrong, but the ones who are not doing good business, we will flush them out and will not hesitate at all to flush these people out of the system.
The Bank of Ghana is also cautioning the public to desist from engaging the services of all unlicensed entities engaged in the provision of loans to consumers. According to the bank, this is in contravention of the Banks and Specialized Deposit-Taking Institutions Act 2016. A statement issued by the central bank notes that these illegal entities mostly employ the use of mobile applications and social media in their activities. The entities, which are 19 in number, include Sikape's Quick Online Loan, 4 Cedi Instant Mobile Loan Application, Zidisha Online Loans, Ghana Lending Application, Adamfopa Loan, Crest Cash Loan, Mobile Loan Application, and Cedi Now Cash Loans Application. The Bank of Ghana, however, noted that it is taking steps to take action against these entities and thus advises the general public to report such activities.
Citi TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access Citi TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV on your television. Citi TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the Go TV and Star Times box. Citi TV, it's your world.
It's been years since the whole Men's Gold case broke, and the customers of the company are concerned that they still haven't received their monies. After the collapse of Men's Gold, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, YOCO, was given permission to sell assets such as lands, vehicles, gold, and a group of companies belonging to the CEO, Nana Appiah-Mensah, aka Nam1. Now, the customers are demanding that the Attorney General fully discloses the amount of money generated from the sale of the company's seized assets.
It is high time government accept the responsibility that its agency, i.e. Bank of Ghana and the Security and Exchange Commission, they didn't do something right at the time of the closure of Men's Gold. And that is what has landed us in this.
Years after pursuing a legal case against CEO of Men's Gold Ghana, Nana Appiah-Mensah, popularly known as Nam1, the Economic and Organized Crime Office YOCO has decided to discontinue the criminal case against him due to lack of evidence. Men's Gold was shut down by the Security and Exchange Commission 4 years ago for operating without a license, and the YOCO was given permission to sell assets belonging to the CEO to settle the customers. However, 4 years on, customers are still angry, saying that government chose to embark on a wild goose chase of Nam1 instead of paying them with funds raised from the sale of the seized assets. Fred Forson is the spokesperson for the aggrieved customers of Men's Gold.
During the collapse of the company, government in 2019, I think 29 January 2019, the YOCO, Economic and Organized Crime, said that they have seized some properties from Men's Gold and Nam1, and they listed a lot of them: vehicles, xylophone properties, lands, and others. But we don't know the number involved. What numbers are we dealing with? And anytime we go to YOCO to make inquiries, we are directed to the Attorney General. And for 4 years now, we do not know the state of those assets. In fact, at our last walk to YOCO, they confirmed that the vehicles have been disposed of. We do not know how many vehicles were sold, how much was realized, and into which account is those monies being kept. And we believe that as major or relevant stakeholders in this whole matter, we need to know.
They also want the Attorney General to disclose to them what happened to the CEO's funds from Dubai. They have therefore petitioned the Attorney General to give full disclosure about how much was raised from the sale of the assets and the whereabouts of the money.
We've been making those requests several times. When we went there, they confirmed they have some gold in their custody. We want to know how much of that gold is in their custody, how much was seized, and how much is still in their custody. The RTI law says that, Section 18 of the law says that within 2 weeks, the information officer responsible, or the officer responsible, should be able to give us the response within 2 weeks. And so we have drawn their attention to it. It's in the petition. And so 2 weeks from yesterday, it was submitted yesterday. We expect them to respond or give us a favorable response. Yeah.
Over time, contractors have bemoaned the consequences of the government's failing to pay them for projects they have completed. It, however, appears they are not the only ones feeling the pinch. Financial service companies that also fund these contractors claim the situation is having an impact on their books, which has forced them to discontinue working with these contractors until things change.
It has almost become a cliche to hear contractors call on the government to pay them monies owed them, in some cases as far back as 2017. Their threats to close down facilities they have worked on, from schools to roads, have all not yielded much results. They were hopeful that the formation of the Road Fund Board would bring an improvement to the situation, but that hasn't yielded much. Things improved slightly, according to the contractors, when some 800 million Ghana cedis was released to clear debts owed, some of them of up to 1 million Ghana cedis. But they lament the intervention was woefully inadequate, as it only catered for about 10% of the total debt. On the other hand, are financial service providers who lend to these contractors to enable them carry out their projects. How are they impacted by this delay in payments? Matthias Doppe is the CEO of SDC Finance Limited.
We have made a deliberate decision to keep the wheel of construction going by becoming a kind of an intermediary between government and the contractors. So we provide funding for them to be on site even when there is delay in payment. But there is a limit of delay that we can work with successfully. Once the delay goes beyond that point, it becomes a problem for us. And over the last, 5 years, has been quite tough, because we still have certificates which date back to 2015 which have not been paid. And that one definitely becomes a big strain. It puts a lot of pressure on our balance sheet.
Mr. Doppe believes the government has to give more consideration to the construction industry, as it will not only boost the sector but also revamp businesses like his and ensure they continue to operate.
When government resumes regular payment of contractors, what that does is that it brings life back into our own cash flows and makes it possible for us to continue funding more contractors. Because at the end of the day, that is the business we have decided to do. So really, all we have been waiting for is to get positive directions from government, that there is a sustained program that will make sure that the backlog of arrears in the construction sector would be cleared. We are really looking forward to that, and we are hopeful that will be factored in the conversations that are going on with the IMF now. And by the time we are done, we would see our way clear.
The government has chalked some success with its flagship Planting for Food and Jobs program in the agricultural sector. But the project might be hit with some setbacks, as some seed suppliers under the program are owed over 200 million Ghana cedis. How will they be able to continue to supply the seeds with such a huge debt? Clearly, this must be affecting their operations negatively.
Seed suppliers for government's flagship Planting for Food and Jobs initiative say their businesses risk collapse due to the non-payment for seeds supplied since 2021. According to the National Seed Trade Association of Ghana, NASDAQ, its members are owed over 207 million Ghana cedis, a development that is hampering their operations, especially under the current economic situation.
Quite a good chunk of our members are smallholder farmers, and it's quite important for their operations, for our operations. And so delayed, it goes over a period of about 18 months like that. It's quite stressful indeed. I'm not too sure quite a number of them are going to produce this year. Though our colleagues in the northern sector who have only one season are in the middle of production. Those of us in the southern sector are in the second cycle, when most of our members do the certified seed. And already the economic crunch is hitting us hard. People have to scale down production acreages. And so compounded with the delayed release of cash, it's tough. The agri sector is also the least attractive to financial institutions to even give bridge or temporary funding. So we don't get it. And so we depend on our cash flows from our operations, to internally generate funds to drive our operations, and so it's hurting us badly. If it continues like this, I'm sure many members will probably shut down and might not produce.
In an interview with Citi Business News, President of NASDAQ, Kwabena Edu-Jemfi, stated that several efforts to get the government's attention to have their concerns addressed haven't yielded much, but they are hopeful of a swift response soon.
We're really appealing to government to look at us because we believe that, Michael, we believe that all the economists who have spoken about this economy talks about the fact that a lot of emphasis should be given to agriculture production, productivity as well, so that we can cut back on food imports. We are told by the government statistician, that the current inflation is driven by food and transport. Food and transport. You know what I mean? So, and we are the basic foundation of food. Food is essentially the seed and the other agronomic packages. So if your seed is not good, or you don't have a good amount of seed adapted to the environment, it means that your agricultural production is compromised. And so we believe that our government should give us top priority in terms of settling the bills it owes. That is all our plea to government, that it should really look at the seed sector as the foundation of agriculture so that we can continue to support our industry.
Let's now talk about digitizing the country's revenue mobilization processes. The government has revealed that it will begin rolling out the automation of all tax clearing certificates from October this year. This is part of efforts to drastically eliminate corruption. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia disclosed this at the 10th Annual International Tax Conference in Accra.
It's no doubt that Ghana has a major challenge in the area of domestic revenue mobilization, with a tax-to-GDP ratio of 13.5% compared to 27% for South Africa and 34% for the advanced countries. It is against this background that the government embarked on the digitalization drive to demystify the tax compliance process and broaden the tax net. This latest introduction, among others, is aimed at reducing the discretionary use of powers and its attendant alleged corruption by public officials while promoting voluntary compliance and a friendly tax-paying environment. Delivering the keynote at the 10th Annual International Tax Conference in Accra, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia revealed that governments will begin rolling out the automation of all tax clearing certificates from October 2022. He said there was a need to automate the tax system to enable the nation rake in more revenue for development.
For the purpose of promoting tax compliance, the Commissioner General has maintained a system of tax clearing certificates in accordance with Sections 10 and 11 of the Revenue Administration Act. This process of obtaining the tax clearance certificate has been done manually, with the issuance of a handwritten certificate over years. It has, however, been characterized with delays in the issuance by GRA, challenges in verifying genuine tax clearance certificates by recipients, and the use of fake tax clearance certificates, alleged malpractices of some tax officials, amongst others. So it is against this background and the problems associated with obtaining tax clearance certificates that I directed the leadership of the GRA to automate the process of obtaining a tax clearance certificate. And I am glad to announce to you today that this process has been completed and will go live in October this year.
The Vice President also noted that, as part of efforts to ensure that Ghanaians become tax compliant, all public services will require a tax clearance certificate before rendering any services.
That this is not just being done for the sake of technology. We are doing this to be able to raise revenue. So yes, it is nice for everybody to be able to do this. But I must add that given that we have now made it easy for anybody to file taxes and pay their taxes, from next year, many public services will require the presentation of tax clearance certificates before the services are rendered. This will enhance compliance and therefore will enhance domestic revenue mobilization.
The annual International Tax Conference by the Institute of Taxation Ghana was under the theme Improving Domestic Tax Revenue Mobilization, a consultative and inclusive approach.
As part of efforts to expand its operations across the various regions in Ghana, Kumasi-based leading construction firm Nexeth Construction Limited has launched an operational yard and concrete production facility at Apollonia Industrial Park. The 3-acre state-of-the-art production complex is the company's operational yard for the southern sector of Ghana.
Nexeth Construction's new operational yard and concrete production factory has 2 production lines, each of which can produce 16,806-inch concrete blocks every 8 hours, or more than 33,000 per shift. The facility has 3 warehouses, a service room, common rooms, offices, multi-purpose rooms, an administration block, a canteen and kitchen yard. But why Apollonia Citi? The technical director of Nexeth Construction Limited, Charles Esau, tells us more.
As a developer, you want to look for land availability. And in the southern sector, the litigation issues are also a major issue. Industrial activities also has some environmental control conditions. So you can't go into a heavy residential area and start. You can do that, ask for rezoning and all that, but then you're always going to have problems with your neighbors. So when we heard of an industrial park, we felt that it fits into the whole idea that we want to move to the southern sector. And we use the word carefully southern sector because we're looking within the Greater Accra region as far as to Aflao to the east and as far as to the west, say Takoradi.
Charles Esau further stressed on his outfit's commitment to maintain quality in its production in order to stay relevant in the space. Board Chairman of Nexeth Construction Limited, Dr. Godfred Osubuating, called for prudent measures and collaborative efforts among stakeholders to allow the company flourish in Accra, just as it has done in Kumasi over the years.
We have said that there are many unknown unknowns in doing business in Accra. Some unknowns are known because the scientists will tell you, I'm looking for a certain variable, let X be the variable. So it means that unknown, we know it is the X. But in the business world, there are many unknown unknowns. Look at the COVID-19 pandemic. Look at the Ukraine war. So we need to actually be prudent in the measures that we take. In this case, we need to be predictive and also proactive so that we can also be able to absorb some of the shocks that may come our way.
On his part, Chief Executive Officer of Apollonia Citi, Bright Owusu Amofa, explained to Citi Business News how Nexeth's partnership with his outfit will help better the construction industry.
It's a platform where every company, irrespective of the sector, every developer, individuals, businesses can come in here and consider Apollonia as their home. So what we're developing is a new satellite community for 100,000 people. And so what that means is that 100,000 people, it's a new city on its own which will need the likes of Nexeth, right, for the services they provide and the products they provide. We will be developing 30,000 homes here. So certainly we will need, blocks to do that. We are doing several kilometers of road and infrastructure. We will need concrete products. So that's where the likes of Nexeth come. We've also got a data center, for instance, which was commissioned about 12 months ago. And there are, like I said in my speech, there are at least about 5 companies that are currently under construction, and within the next 24 months, we expect all these companies to be operational.
If you haven't stopped by the Citi FM and Citi TV, this is Ghana Fair happening at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, then you really are missing out. This year's fair took a whole new turn with a business clinic and several made in Ghana products to choose from. If you are watching this on a Sunday, then you have a couple of hours more to stop by the fair and join in.
Well, it is good to be doing whatever you're doing, a business that you're running, but if people don't know about it, it becomes a problem, isn't it? And it is for this reason that the This is Ghana exhibition was organized and indeed is currently ongoing by Citi TV and Citi FM, happening at the AMA, at the forecourt of the AMA in Accra. So there are dozens of exhibitors or people who are vendors who have brought in their products and services to exhibit. And there are a lot of participants and patrons who have come through to watch what exactly the situation is here. And for Citi Newsroom today, I have come here to check the polls and talk to the people who are vendoring and also talk to some of the people who are here to observe. Let me speak to these people. Fragroma is one of the exhibitors here.
We have batiks and tie and dye. They are 100% cotton. We have linen as well. So if you want it, and you see the difference between ours and other people's own is when you wash it. Look at mine. I've washed it a lot of times, but you see it's still popping, right? It doesn't split. No, it doesn't bleed. It doesn't fade. That's me right here. So that's Fragroma. We are into anything, and we also sew as well. So you can come and get your fabrics, your batiks, and then we'll sew it to something nice for you.
Marco Polo Tile Group. Why did you decide to come and exhibit here?
Because I know Citi FM is very famous, and through this exhibition we can have more potential.
So how has the event been for you today? And is this purely in Ghana?
Yeah, this is totally manufactured in Ghana.
What do you manufacture and where are you based?
In Takrady, in front of Shama.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you produce?
Basins, water closet, and urinal pot.
This is a Knock Afrique Vogue.
What Knock Afrique does is we are into the production of this northern kente and then the clothing as well.
So you do small?
Yes, we do small.
And the hat. As a cowboy, I think this is a very lovely one. This is what the kind of thing I used to wear in the past.
What Dignified Wear does is we train and employ persons with disabilities and rural women to make these footwear and then northern fabric kente clothes like this as well.
This is Ghana time, and indeed time is essential. So I've come to Caveman. Caveman has been with the This is Ghana exhibition from the beginning. It's been part of Citi. Hello.
Bro, how you doing?
I'm okay. How is it going?
Not bad. We are managing.
How is it? Are you seeing improvements in your business with us and all of that?
I would say I'm a product of Citi's efforts.
Okay.
So from the first exhibition, I mean, the business took off from there, and we are doing great.
You look like you're doing very great here. Your business has expanded and all of that. Yeah. For people who are coming around, what do you tell them? Why should they patronize you? And there's a question I always have in my head. Why do I have to buy a watch when I have time on my phone?
No, watches, I mean, people buy watches for different reasons. I mean, functionality or fashion, a gift for someone. You could buy a watch as an investment because especially limited edition watches, after some time the value goes up. So there are reasons to buy watches.
One of the interesting and major highlights of this exhibition, This is Ghana exhibition organized by Citi TV, is business clinics that have been set up, which are happening every other 2 hours, and taking people through what it is that you need when you're setting up a business and how to maintain your business. Tell us what's happening.
Oh, basically I'm meeting friends who are into business, and or have intention to go into business. So we are walking them through building the financial structure of their business, and also some of the things that they have to do before they enter business.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, he graced this occasion, and he is excited with what he saw.
Problems for our poultry farmers, and one of their biggest challenges is in feed, and the import of feed for the poultry. And we are now seeing people who are actually making the feed local, for layers, for broilers, for chicks, and all of that. And it's really remarkable to see. And it's also important that the Ghana Export Promotion Council, it's also here, authorities here. We have the Exim Bank, which is also here, because we also not just want to make in Ghana, we want to also sell outside Ghana. We want to be able to export what we are making from here. And what is so interesting when you look at some of the shoes that are being made, some of the bags that are being made, this is world-class standard production that we are seeing, world-class. We sell in any market in the world. So we want to be able to help get our manufacturers here access to export markets so that they can sell.
Well, that'll be all for today's edition of the Business Weekly Show here on Citi TV, your most watched business show in the country. For more business stories, please check out our website, citibusinessnews.com. My name is Michael Obodu. Let's connect on Twitter at @mobodu. Catch you same time next week. Stay safe, stay informed. Bye-bye.